All right, guys, I think we'll get started as long as everything sounds and looks good. Welcome to the live stream, everybody. It's good to see that we have a good turnout nice and early today. So, yeah, basically just going to be taking a look at Bitcoin, other random altcoins, just some freestyle analysis here, take a few look at a few things that I'm currently looking at. I'll obviously bring up the MDX ALGO indicators and we'll kind of see what they're saying on a bunch of different time frames. And if you guys have any questions about the indicators, feel free to ask at any time. Hop on the mic at any time if you have any questions, or there's also the chat box there that you can talk on as well if you don't want to be on the mic. But yeah, other than that, I'm just going to get started and we'll take a look at a few things here. So, first of all, looking at Bitcoin on the weekly chart, things still don't look too bad. I know a lot of people are flipping bearish very quickly just because we had a little pullback yesterday. What I'm looking at on the weekly so far is, you guys who have been tuned into these live streams and my videos and that sort of thing, you'll know that I thought this was a fairly important level in the market, just this little high here we had on the weekly chart. And the fact that we closed candle bodies above that was looking pretty good. I didn't like how this next candle never quite closed above this next little high here. But, you know, that didn't seem to matter. We still got our next close was above that. So at this point, I just don't see a reason why we don't test up a little bit higher to test this area. Because on a larger time frame, this is kind of the lower high that I'm interested in right now, just because we had our low here, a lower low here. Highest point between those two levels is right there around 25.2, 25.3, somewhere in there, just above 25k basically. Fair games for a bit of resistance, in my opinion. Obviously, we don't even have to get to those levels, but that's just kind of a level that's been on my radar basically since this pump began. That is the overall target that I'm really interested to see what happens. I think if we start closing candle bodies above this level, I think the whole structure of this chart changes, and on a weekly time frame like that, that's where things might go a little bonkers for a while. And you guys are probably well aware that I have been talking about what sounds like a ridiculous price target at this point. I'm kind of on the belief that we are heading towards 48k. Now, I know it sounds ridiculous right now, and we definitely don't have to make it there. But just because of previous market cycles, one thing that we've loved to do when Bitcoin gets its bear market rally, we end up testing the 618 fib. And that's kind of lining up right with this structure over here as well. So, I mean, definitely a level of interest in the market, and the fact that that Fibonacci is there. I just have a feeling that the market is drawn towards that level right now. I think if we get there, it's not like I'm saying we're going there this week, next week, anything like that. I'm thinking more months down the road. I think we obviously have a ton of resistance kind of just where we were consolidating during the bull market, where we were basically set our base support here. Obviously, that's a level on everybody's radar, basically from 28 to 32k, somewhere in there. Obviously, there's a ton of resistance there, so that's also a level to watch out for. If we don't get a harsh rejection here, I think it's going to be important to see how we react to this level if we make it up to this resistance box here. Just because obviously we may end up getting a very harsh rejection there, and then who knows, maybe we do set lower lows. We sweep our lows back here. But if we kind of get to this level and just kind of consolidate at this level, it might mean that the market's really just tapping away at it, not seeing much of a rejection, and just waiting for the bulls to step back in and push the price higher, basically, if the bears aren't willing to pull the trigger there and dump us down. So again, this is definitely a ways down the road, you guys. Just a few important levels that I want to throw on your radar. And just kind of going towards the indicators here. The oscillator 4 up here is already telling us, well, actually even a couple weeks ago, it was saying that the trend may be a little bit overextended, a little bit exhausted here, but we have kept going up since. And again, that level that I'm currently watching with this weekly high back here, we are still kind of respecting that as a little bit of support. It's interesting that we are just we dumped just very briefly below it, but I mean, we could even adjust that. Let's say More important level maybe a bit lower, just because here we had this little low, we have this high back here, and that actually lines up perfectly with where we just dumped to. So I think that could actually be an important level for the market right now. The oscillator 5 down here, I'm not really seeing any divergences or anything really jumping out at me, except what I've been pointing out in my last few videos, and that is the money flow. And that's just this, you can see that we flipped this little cloud from red to green here. There is this little ribbon in the way here, this pink thing. But the green behind it is just suggesting that there is actually, we're starting to see more buying volume than we were selling volume earlier. So there's actually some money flowing into the market, not just getting shut down like we have in every other little rally that we've had. Even back here, you guys know I was wrong about this. I was extremely bullish at this level. We got our FTX dump here. But you know, when you look at this indicator, even though I was bullish on the bullish divergences and stuff like that, thinking we were going to pump from there, something I never considered is this money flow signal. And just because I really didn't look at this before until, thank you, Stock Poker, you pointed this out to me. We never had the green money flow signal there. So the fact that we just recently in the last couple of weeks have flipped that money flow signal on the oscillator 5 towards green like that, I mean, I know this feels very overextended and it feels like, you know, this thing just has to come nuking down. But if you really consider this, I mean, money just started to flow into the market. This is the very beginning of, you know, buy volume hitting the markets. And yes, that can absolutely flip back down. No indicators 100%, but that's something that's been quite accurate in the past here. I've outlined a few important reversal levels, or just crosses on this indicator rather, with these dotted vertical lines. Got very nice moves with getting these bullish crosses on this indicator. I mean, this pump was absolutely massive. This one was a little smaller, but still a very nice move. And the same on the opposite end. When we crossed red, it absolutely signaled a massive dump in the market. So one thing about that, though, I have also been pointing out, this signal can result in a little bit of a pullback first. I mean, here is where we basically had the sell signal. And I mean, it did pump 30% from there before dumping to the downside 60%. So it can be just a little bit lagging there. We definitely could just pull back. And right now, if we got something like that, let's say we got, let's say from where that signal happened, basically, pull back 30% or so. I mean, that would be a perfect target for a double bottom there. So, I mean, I don't want to rule that out at this point, but we're obviously going to have to see what happens. The market structure has just been in quite a vigorous uptrend recently. I mean, I'm going to hop over to the 4-hour chart here. You can actually see the long that I took recently here, just actually very shortly before making this video. Basically what I was looking at, and I was talking about this on my channel as well, is that, you know, I remember people getting quite bearish in a very similar manner when we were right here. Everyone thought, you know, this trend is way overextended. This is just the beginning here of the selling pressure. We are going to absolutely dump right back down and find new lows and that kind of thing. But really, we never even broke this structure, even the low of this range. This wasn't even a confirmed higher low the way I like to look at it. I don't like to confirm this as a higher low until we've actually broke above the highs. So, I mean, now this is kind of the level I'm looking at as a higher low, where I would remain bullish on the trend until we lose this level way down here, basically. Not to say there wouldn't be some juicy shorts if we were to dump to the downside here. I mean, yeah, absolutely, that's a nice volatile move for the bears. But as it stands right now, I'm kind of looking at this current range the same. I have it outlined with the purple support line, just like I did back here. That's just kind of the lows we've found since trading sideways at these levels. And yeah, I was basically pointing this out in my last couple of videos. We did have this, I don't know if you want to call that a bit of a deviation, where we kind of broke above these highs here and then came back down. But even if you wanted to look at it the way I am, I mean, this was our high. We did set a bit of a higher high here. Our lowest point between those levels is here at this green line. And yes, we wicked below, but I mean, we still never dropped this range. We still found support kind of between this green and purple lines. So I think the trend is still fine so far. Yes, absolutely, we could have a big pullback, but I'm just saying it doesn't necessarily have to happen, and people are just very quick to flip their sentiment on the markets. I mean, everyone was getting moon boyish up here, and the fact that we had this little pullback, I mean, what did we pull back here? 5-6%, and all of a sudden it's bear market back on social media. We never even dropped this range, so people are just very quick to jump ship there. Basically what we're seeing here, just taking a look at the indicators on the 4-hour here, oscillator 4 up here, we did have this bullish pivot point right around this level here. Same thing, we had this possible trend exhaustion basically as we were bottoming out at the bottom of this range here. Oscillator 5 did have this bearish divergence here with a bearish pivot point here. So it actually, these two indicators lined up very nicely with timing the top here for a nice short call. So congratulations if anybody caught that. I've made it very clear in many of my past videos, I'm personally not interested in shorting right now. I would just rather play the long side myself personally, and then just waiting for pullbacks and re-entering longs rather than looking for shorts. But again, that's just me personally. I'm not looking for a reversal. I just kind of want to play this uptrend because I do see reason for it to continue. So that's all I'm looking at there basically. Bring up the Algo 3. You can see as far as the 4-hour, this actually lines up very nicely with what I was just saying about this support level I'm watching around 20.2, just this higher, or this confirmed higher low I was talking about within this purple line. The Algo 3 pointed out this very nice demand zone at this level, and it's a pretty thick one. I mean, that's quite a large range there. It's $1,000 or so. But it's beautiful to see that, this is what you want to see with indicators, any indicator. None of them are going to be 100%. But when you use your own analysis and then you see indicators matching up with your own analysis, just using them as confluence like that, I mean, that can be a very powerful thing. So I really like to see that this is agreeing with what I'm looking at with this purple support line here, basically the bottom of that demand zone here. Gonna zoom right in actually, just because I was just saying I'm in a bit of a long position. Just kind of show you what I was looking at. So one thing that I didn't like is we did end up dropping this 1-hour trend confluence. It's been a little bit flip-floppy here. I was talking on the Discord group actually about hoping that we would end up holding this 1-hour trend confluence. And although we didn't, it never flipped right away, and I was looking at this as almost a bit of a double bottom, just that we started finding support within this little wick that we had back here, and this is a very small time frame, you guys. So I was thinking, since it's been so flip-floppy, maybe even if this was going to flip red, which it did shortly after, I figured I was fairly confident that we would at least get a pullback towards this red trend confluence after it flipped bearish. So you can see here, I actually took some profits, this green dotted line. That's where I ended up closing half my position just because, I was expecting us to get shut down here. The fact that we didn't, I'm willing to let the rest of the other half of my position ride with a break-even stop loss, which I just updated right before starting this video because I don't know if I'll have time to change it or anything like that if I'm with you guys here. But that's kind of what I was looking at. So, yeah, that's why I'm in. It's not a large position because I wasn't super confident in it. But, yeah. Now I would be interested in adding into it if the stars aligned. If we now see already we've flipped this confluence back bullish, it has flipped green again. So if we kind of take another run at that, start finding support along that, then I will be interested in adding back into my position and maybe even going a little heavier, but we're going to have to see how that goes. But yeah, that's just kind of what I was looking at when I entered at this level here. So that's kind of what the shorter time frames are doing. Taking a look at the oscillator 4 up here. This would be, again, just a bit of a warning, a bearish warning, I guess. Potential pivot point there with the diamond. As well, on the Algo 3, you know, we also have this reversal warning, so it's absolutely possible we're going to dump back down and maybe test that 1 hour trend confluence. And, you know, that would line up perfectly with retesting this bit of a demand zone down here. So, yeah, we're going to have to see if we can get something there. Another thing with this position I was talking about taking there, we had more than just, you know, as I said, we found support inside the wick of this candle back here. But another big trigger for me was just the way the Algo 3 has, I have the inverse colors right now, and that's kind of been helping to just, I guess the green candles just as kind of a buy signal. So it's nice that everything was turning very bright green as I was kind of watching this level already. This is just the 5 minute, but the oscillator 5 down here, we had this big green dot, so a nice big oversold dot there. And as well, the oscillator 4 up here, we had a pivot point trend exhaustion. So that's one of those things, and I know I point that out on the private Discord quite often, is when these three indicators line up so well like that, it's quite often a very powerful signal, and that's exactly what happened here. I mean, like I said, we have the oscillator 4, we have the bright green Algo 3 saying to take profits if you are in a short. Just a couple of warnings there, plus this. I mean, that all lines up absolutely perfectly. So just beautiful how those three indicators work out together like that. Just going to take a quick look as well at my settings on these indicators, just in case any of you guys are kind of wondering how I have it set up, or you have any questions about any of the settings here. So quite often I actually don't even have a lot of this activated. Like, you'll notice I don't even have the long and short signals activated, and that's just because I find personally that when I see signals flashing, I'm less likely to analyze things myself, and I don't I know I like to get FOMO, and I don't want the indicator to give me any extra FOMO, so I just like to analyze the other signals with this indicator. But that's just me personally. That's how I have it set up to fit my trade style. So and how I have it set up right now, I'm on the 5 minute. You guys know I love trading the 5 or the 15 minute chart, but I do that with the hourly trend confluence. So it's more so like I'm trading the hourly chart, but I'm zooming into a shorter time frame to just get a more accurate entry, I guess, if you want to call it that. So yeah, this green line that's coming up here, this would be my 21 EMA, and that would be on the 5 minute chart. And then I also have trend 2 and the trend confluence. That's the hourly trend confluence that I won't shut up about. That's a squiggly line here that's been flipping from green to red there. And with that, I have filter selected. That will just go, if I did have the signals, the feature active, and I had the long and short signals, if I had filter selected, that would make it so that only the long signals show up if it's an uptrend, like if the trend confluence agrees, and vice versa. It'll only show shorts if the trend confluence is bearish. So, and then auto settings, that's just picking whatever's predetermined that works with these time frames as the trend confluence. I know anything under an hour on your chart is going to use the 1 hour trend confluence. After that, I'm not sure what they all are. I've just had it on auto settings. You can play around with that if you want to figure out exactly which time frame is lining up with it. But very cool. That's one of the newer features, just having it automatically set a confluence for you. Market flow, that would be this very faint gray line. I don't know if you can see this that I'm following with my cursor here, just showing the overall flow of the market, just like it says. Take profits, that would be the orange dots with the TPs. The tops and bottoms, that will be these little blue triangles that you can see right here. I have one that's a potential bottom there, and those basically flash based on the reaction of the next candle, kind of just when it figures that, hey, this might be a good pivot point here. Reversal warnings, I went over that. That's the orange dot with the W. Trend exhaustion's just the regular orange dots. So but yeah, very cool things that you can do with these indicators. For anyone who hasn't seen these before, I'll just go over a couple more things real quick. Stotch RSI divergences, that will be very similar to the blue triangles, but they're blue dots, but I don't think they show up on the shorter time frames like this. Probability calculator, this will show So this will basically show the percentage chance that the current candle hits these targets, and they are currently stepped 1% apart. So obviously it's not too likely that we're going to hit these next targets because it's such a short time frame as well. Since I'm on the 5 minute, there's not a huge chance, a huge probability that we're going to pump 1 full% up to this level in this candle. So that's just kind of why some of these are such low percentages there. I personally don't use that too much, but very cool feature on longer time frames. I think it's a lot more useful. Trade setup. This is a lot of people's favorite here. This one will actually, after you get your long and short signals, it'll actually show you potential entries and take profits. How did this one end up doing? Where? Oh, this is from way back. So basically, it would have entered back here, and you can see that it did actually hit its first take profit, got very close to its second take profit before it would have got stopped out there. And yeah, since it hasn't taken a new one yet, then obviously it still has the old information there, just so you can kind of keep tabs on what happened there. That will automatically refresh and change when there's a new entry there. But yeah, very cool feature. Honestly, me personally, I like to find my own entries, but I find this very useful for taking profits, because one of the hardest things to do as a trader, I say this all the time, one of the hardest things to do is to actually take profits and not get greedy. So I really like how this indicator will throw those targets up for you, so you actually are more likely to pay attention to those levels and take those profits. Supply and demand, would be all these green and red horizontal boxes. So I know it looks like that's probably my analysis, but that's actually done by the indicator itself. So the red would be supply zones where people have supply ready to be sold, and the green areas are obviously demand, where there's a lot of demand to pick up some, well, in this case, Bitcoin. So very cool, very helpful for degenerate time frames, especially as a guy like myself who loves trading like a degenerate on shorter time frames. I don't always like to be updating my charts every few minutes, and it's very nice that these indicators, they map things out very similar to how I would. Basically, the way it looks at supply and demand zones is very similar how I look at support and resistance. So very cool there. And then, yeah, you can turn on daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly here. And that will basically give you these. Here, let's just zoom out a little bit. Yeah, you can see that'll just give you your daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, whatever highs and lows. So something that I really love about these indicators, and I say this all the time on my channel as well, is that it does such a good job of bringing in the big picture. Even though I'm only on a 5 minute chart, I can take a look at these longer time frames and just have them in plain sight without having to jump around between a bunch of different time frames. So very cool. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at for the short term here. As I don't think things are too bad. Just hopping over to the 4 hour here. I'm just going to delete this here just to clean things up. There's obviously a bunch of resistance up ahead, but until this structure changes, I'm not really considering flipping bearish until we drop this purple support line here, just actually dropping out of this range here. But like I said, I'm going to be flipping bullish again as soon as we get into this demand zone here. And the indicator, it agrees with me. The trend confluence is there. At the top, my support is at the bottom. So very cool how that's lining up right there. Does anyone have any questions about the indicators, the features, my settings? Have any issues? I guess before anything, I should mention, if you have any visual issues, right click on anything and just change your visual order to bring to front. If you can't right click, then just the 3 dots next to the indicator, visual order, bring to front. And another thing, if you're using the supply and demand zones, select scale price chart only. So you get that by right clicking in the price over here. So if anyone has any visual issues, that may be it. So I just figured I'd mention that quick. But other than that, the floor is open. If anyone wants to say anything, talk about anything, altcoin requests, whatever you guys want. And if nobody has anything, I'm just going to start spewing out some random shit coins here. All right. Well, I saw you guys. Oh, I don't hear you guys. Um, I gotta check my settings here. I just noticed that some of you guys are talking, and I'm sitting here ignoring you guys like a total asshole. Um, One sec here. Can you say something?
Yeah, hey Stu.
Oh, I can hear you now.
Hey. All right, so just real quick, you're on the 4 hour there. If you could open up your oscillators again, and then open up the settings on oscillator 5, and go ahead and click on that smooth oscillator.
Oh, right. Yeah, because we were. I was using both for a while. I just kind of ran out of room here.
Yeah, no, that's fine. And again, mad scientist genius, but I mean, check out what the MDX Oscillator 5 picked up by being able to smooth it. Look at that, back to back. And
Yeah.
if you increased or if you just expanded that a little bit, you got a money flow divergence where you have Papa Bear hump, Mama Bear hump, and Baby Bear hump right there. That's
Yeah.
Papa, Mama, Baby Bear. And then by smoothing the oscillator, which I don't know of any other QQE ribbon stochastic RSI where you could smooth it like this. But when you smooth it, you pick up those two back-to-back divergences. So you got the the Papa Bear, Mama Bear, Baby Bear right there too.
Yeah, totally.
On the ribbon. So I'm just curious what you think about that, and I'll just mic off here.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, quite often divergences can go for a while, and obviously, like, yes, it is definitely a warning sign. I'll give it that. But I mean, if you look all the way back here, I'm sure. Well, I can't really say with this indicator on this time frame, but I bet if we went into the hourly and things like that, we would have been seeing a ton of bearish divergences at this level. And I mean, I guess it would have technically got a little bit of a play out, but was obviously bought back up by the trend very quick, and I wouldn't be too surprised if that happens here. That being said, I do take these orange W's, the warning reversals, quite serious because on the Algo 3, that is, they've been quite accurate in the past. I mean, obviously not every time, but it can be a very powerful signal. So the fact that that's lining up with kind of this double or triple bearish divergence, whatever you want to call it there, and like you said, the money flow one, that's another big one there. So yeah, there is a few warning signs there. Again, I'm personally not going to flip bearish yet, just because we are still just creating higher lows, and we're not breaking any ranges yet. That being said, I mean, looking at the price structure, let's say even something like that. I mean, there's definitely cracks that are starting to show, and I wouldn't be too surprised if we do see that pullback soon. But I think at this point, if we do get any pullbacks, I think it's going to be quite quick to get bought back up. That's just my personal opinions. Like, if I were shorting, I would definitely want those take profits set, because I don't think the dip is going to last too long yet. I don't think we're quite ready for that big dump yet. But I totally agree that, these divergences could be spelling out that we are going to at least drop this range and test that higher low that I was talking about earlier.
Yeah, I don't know. Is my mic on? I think it is.
Yeah.
I don't tip it. I keep it. I usually keep it on the choppity chop there on the oscillator 5. But I love clicking on the smooth because sometimes, and it's worked out before, where it's found some divergences that just other indicators don't really pick up.
Oh, for sure.
So I kind of click it on, but then I go and look, and then I click it back onto the choppity chop. And yeah, I'm in a short, by the way. So
Yeah.
maybe I'm just looking for things to confirm my bias. But yeah, on those big time frames, that 4 hour time frame, that's pretty. Yeah, that's pretty. I don't know. I think it's that big wave up, and then subsequent trigger waves on the money flow and on the QQE or on the ribbon. I just thought that, and again, it's keeping me in my short. I'm upside down, and it's keeping me in my short. So
Fair enough. I mean,
yeah,
I totally get it. I agree with you that I'm definitely seeing the things you're seeing. I just, I guess I like to look at price structure first and indicators after for that confluence. And I mean, yes, I agree. The oscillator 5, I mean, those are some fairly serious divergences between the money flow as well as your ribbon there. But I'm seeing a lot of mixed signals as well because, you know, as I was talking before about it, it's very nice when these three indicators line up together. I'm not really seeing that at this point yet. I mean, we just had a bullish pivot on the oscillator 4 in kind of oversold territory, for example. So the fact that that's not lining up with the oscillator 5 has me, I guess,
yeah,
second guessing it. But
yeah, that's the thing that's making me hesitant as well. Is that the Algo 3 trend confluence is like a mile away. I wish they were closer together, and it would make me much more comfortable. But on the 4 hour, I mean, it's like the trend confluence is like a mile away. It's
yeah,
so
way
far
down
away,
at like
so far away.
21.1.
Yeah, I mean, if those were a bit closer, I mean, or maybe it's just the function of that big run up was just so quick,
Yeah.
you know. But that's the only thing that makes me. If those were closer, if the Algo 3 was in confluence with the divergences on
Yeah.
the oscillator 5, I would be much more comfortable. But so, like you said, there's contradicting things here.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Like let's say, you know, let's say this trend confluence had come up a lot quicker and it was kind of going something like this. I would be a lot more confident in saying that I think this range is going to hold. I agree with you. The fact that it's so far away and on larger time frames too. Like I can hop over to the daily and it like that's a very serious signal. The fact that even on the daily we're seeing these trend confluence flip bullish. I do happen to know this one. The trend confluence on the daily is mapped out by the 3 day. I just knew that from screwing around with it and figuring it out. But again, like you said, it's so far away. You know, that's down at like 19K somewhere in there.
Did that just print? If you look up on your oscillator 4 on the daily, it looks like you got back-to-back divergences up there too. I don't
Yeah.
think that was there like even a half hour ago.
Yeah, very possible. Oh yeah, maybe
Wow!
that would have.
Wow! 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 Wow!
Yeah, that's and again with that bearish pivot as well. On top of that, the Algo 3 does have this potential top, that little blue triangle I was talking about earlier, and obviously this supply zone. Um, I can't argue with you there. I mean, there is some warning signs there. Like I said, I wouldn't be too surprised to see that pullback. I'm not ballsy enough to throw money in a short, like betting against the bulls right now. But I do see your reason for thinking that, and quite honestly, I mean that's one of the reasons why I closed half my position so quickly when I took that.
I too. I'm trying to see that signal in my chart, and if you put BTC USDT on Binance, it does not signal the divergence.
USDT on Binance, you said?
Yeah. Yes.
And that's still on the 4 hour?
No, on the daily.
Oh, the daily.
Yeah.
Oh, it.
So that's you have it there.
On the oscillator 4, I see the same divergence. Is that the one you were talking about?
Yeah, I don't have it here on my. I don't know what I have wrong here. Let me check.
You may have the Heiken-Ashi calculator switched on.
Oh, yes. Yes. Good call, Mike. Yeah, do you have the Heiken-Ashi box checked in your Algo 3 settings?
No, I
No?
don't have. No,
And you're on
I did-
you're on regular
I have
candles
it
on your
checked.
chart?
I have it checked. The Heikin mode. I have the check mark there.
And you
Hi,
use
guys.
regular candles on your chart, hey?
Yes,
Okay.
regular can.
But I think, anyways, I think
I can see it now. I can see it now. It's because I had the Heikin chart mark.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right, cool. No worries.
All good. Perfect. Just glad it's sussed. Got her figured.
yeah, I would say, I'm sorry to interrupt. I would say that anyway, for any short or long position, it will mainly depend on what is the outcome of the FOMC meeting tomorrow. If
Yes.
it can go in both direction. Tomorrow is a big day, big day for stock market and crypto. And crypto is obviously following stock market, so it can go in both direction pretty hardly.
Oh yes, I'll definitely might have to take one page out of Kieran's book here and sit out for 3 or 4 hours while the market kind of calms
I was
its
just
titties a
gonna
little
say.
bit.
Don't do anything crazy. Don't do anything crazy. Just watch it.
Yeah.
Let it be amusing to watch, but don't do any trades. It's so dangerous.
If
Just
you're
wait for
gonna-
it to calm the hell down.
If you have to trade the volatility, just take profits quick and update stop losses quickly, for God's sakes.
I mean, you can play lottery and go full degen, leverage 125, and go with a short or a long.
Hope to
Yeah,
catch.
you
Hope to
definitely
catch
can do
that.
that, but you're just gambling. You're just gambling at that exact
Yeah,
time
yeah,
when
it's
that's going on. It's
50-50.
crazy.
There is nothing gambling
it-
about
it-
125x in the 1 minute, okay?
Exactly.
This is
Stu,
not
you
financial advice. Always do your own research, form your own opinions.
Are you recording at the moment, Stu?
I am.
Okay.
I can always edit stuff out if we need or whatever, but yeah.
So thank you guys. I'm gonna leave you tonight. Thank you for the insights. Thank you for the explanation. It's really interesting. And
Yeah,
I really
thanks for-
I really like the way that you changed you inverse the colors. I think it's way better this way.
Oh
thank you
yes,
very
with
much.
with the Algo 3 there. Yeah, I've been really
exactly.
liking the inverse colors lately, so that's new to me too.
Thank
But
you very
yeah,
much. Have a
thanks
good
for
night,
hopping
guys.
in. We'll see you in the chat.
See you later, mate.
Of course.
All right, so we are back, and yeah, now we're just kind of, for those of you who just missed a few minutes there, we are just kind of discussing the FOMC meeting tomorrow, Jerome Powell talking, and kind of trying to come to a conclusion whether it's going to be good or bad for the market. I mean, you guys know that I tend not to follow that stuff. Honestly, you guys here in this stream with me right now, you guys are my news source. I don't look at anything other than basically what you guys are telling me. So yeah, I don't have too strong of an opinion because I usually just wait for the charts to do their thing. But that being said, like I was talking about, I mean, how Kieran said he usually gives it about 4 hours for the markets to settle after the news or whatever. I mean, that's more so how I've been looking at the news lately, as well as just being ready for that volatility. Basically, when you guys start talking about it, it's like, okay, I need to be ready. I don't know what's going to happen, but just be ready. If you're in a position, think about updating your position. Updating stop losses, closing positions, whatever, just to kind of be ready for the storm. And I think, yeah, like you said, tomorrow might be one of those days where shit gets real wild when old Jerome starts flapping his gums about stuff. So we'll have to see. Something I just noticed, guys, sorry, just to bring us back to the charts for a sec here, is on the weekly we're getting a potential reversal warning here. That could be interesting, and that we're also coming up to the trend confluence on the weekly chart. So I don't know if that's a 3-week or a monthly or what that trend confluence is. It's on the auto settings, but we're obviously coming up towards some resistance. Like I said, that lower high trend confluence, reversal warning. You know, maybe it is time for that pullback. This is gonna be interesting. I still think that if we pull back, things aren't too bad, but you know, there might be a quick drawback is all.
I don't know if my mic is on. Can you hear us, dude?
Oh yeah, I can hear you now.
It's Karen. Can you hear it? I don't know if it's working.
Yeah, you're on the air. You're a little quiet, but here I can just boost your volume a little bit. There we go.
You can hear me now, yeah?
Yep.
So I'm actually like in between you and stockbroker, so I'm not actually in any trades right now.
Oh, can't hear that at all. Can't hear it at all.
You're very quiet, man.
I can hear him. You might have to manually right-click on Kieran's picture and raise the user volume. I think you can do it yourself. I just did it, and I can hear him good, so.
Can you hear it?
All right, I just did it.
Can you hear it now?
I don't think he's hearing you. Whatever. I can hear you, and he'll hear it on the after I post it here.
You can hear me now, yeah?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, so like I'm between you and stockbroker because in terms of actually, I generally tend to look at structure first before indicators, and so it could push further up, but there's a lot of bearish divergences as well. And it's not only tomorrow, we've got news the rest of the week as well, Thursday and Friday. So it's just kind of, it's not really TA based anymore, it's more news based. So it's kind of, our edge is kind of diminished. So that's why I'm just on any trade currently right now.
Okay, yeah, I know. I think it was last week you were already kind of putting that on our radar, that it was going to be a very busy week this week as far as fundamental situations go. So I was already kind of thinking like I might have to chill it on the trading this week a little bit, because yeah, if there's a whole bunch of that nonsense going on, I mean, who knows what the markets are going to do all week, especially as we're coming up towards resistance in the charts. I am a little more hesitant to be trading right now than, let's say, last week, for example. What's the old 5-minute doing here? Look at that, a potential bottom. A potential bottom on the 5-minute.
Gangster.
Right? Yeah, I know how you love it when I have the 5-minute or the 1 minute up. This is all for you, buddy. Oh, yeah. Kieran doesn't have his regular mic. That's why you're a little quiet. That's all good. I think on the recording they should be able to hear you, hopefully, on my side, so... yeah, what else? What's, what
Hey,
else is
Stu,
on
I
the
have a
go?
question.
Sure.
Sure. When you put a trade, do you look at something else, like let's say the Dixie or S&P 500 or another indicator, or you just see
probably-
a Bitcoin price?
Probably not as much as I should. I'll give it a look. Usually during these, let's see here, SPX.
That's because right now we are really low on the Dixie, and we are really at support there, and also at the VIX. The VIX is staying really, really low. So this to me is like a sign, another sign, because the charts with the Algo MDX already are putting the warning signs. But another sign is the VIX and the Dixie.
Yeah. Looking at the Dixie right now. Here, let's just take a look at a few things. So this is on the 4-hour chart. Yeah, look at that trend confluence. Holy man, I don't know. I know it didn't make me any money specifically calling this, but man, did I ever call the top of this. And that's just going to be, the fact that may have been the highest the Dixie will be for the next decade. I'm gonna claim that one. That one makes me feel good there. But yeah, as it stands right now, on the 4-hour chart here,
you got to remember that that's not necessarily just the dollar. It's I haven't looked since actually early this morning, but I think there's some other currencies that are kind of pumping. So
definitely.
It's not necessarily people taking money out of stocks and putting it into dollars, which is sometimes with Dixie going up and down may, with the rise and fall of Bitcoin, it may be that the basket of currencies that it's compared to, it may be that one or two or even more are pumping, and I think the euro was pumping this morning. And again, I haven't looked at it in like 12 hours. So
yeah, no, and you're exactly right. It's not like this is just the US dollar strength.
But,
I mean, compared to a whole bunch of shit.
I agree.
Right?
I agree 100% stockbroker, but it's correlated inversely to the risk on assets. Like, if you see the Dixie down, you will see the risk assets up, like in a time frame, weekly time frame.
Absolutely, very true. But just but if like say the pound or something is like doing some kind of ridiculous pump, like an out of an ordinary pump, it could kind of throw kind of a, I guess call it a divergence even maybe, that it like say if one of the underlying currencies is like just undergoing some kind of ridiculous pump, it may not be so much that I agree exactly with what you said, but you got to be careful in case one of those other currencies for whatever reason is just doing a moonshot.
I got it.
Yeah.
So, something that's interesting right now is, so when I'm looking at the Dixie on the dollar, I mean, it kind of looks like it could be finding support. I mean, we obviously have support just back here. May as well make that green. And, we're getting the warnings that there might be a bounce in store. Also, I think I noticed the market flow has actually kind of gone through and is now below the price here, so that may provide a little bit of support. The Dixie might see a bounce soon just because it's been in such a vicious downtrend, but if you look at the weekly, I mean, the trend confluence on the weekly has flipped bearish, and you may have just noticed me flipping between charts here. I mean, look what happened when Bitcoin did this. When Bitcoin flipped bearish and got that little cross there, which is exactly what this is. It hasn't crossed yet, but just the fact that the trend confluence has flipped, and realistically, I think with the momentum, this is probably going to cross very soon. I mean, the Dixie might be in for a royal ass kicking here pretty soon, and if that happens, I mean, I don't know, that could be good for a lot of other assets.
Yeah.
Yo, dude.
Point.
Yo.
What's going on? I was just going to add a little note about Bitcoin, actually, while you're at it.
Sure.
I was doing a little scan online, and I saw a couple of people's analysis. But then, if you hop onto the oscillator 5 on the monthly, you'll notice that it's got a little green dot, and I believe that this stochastic is going to continue turning up.
Ooh.
If we close above, I want to say 19K or so. It's opposite to the weekly. Obviously, the weekly stock is, where is it? The weekly stock is like obviously about to turn over, but it could be interesting to see. Obviously, it's not actionable, but in terms of a long-term bottom forming, so to speak.
Yeah. Interesting. I mean, these have been fairly, like, just looking at that green dot alone, I mean, that has been a fairly serious thing on
Yeah, I've got it open. Obviously, we've got the monthly. What, it's like 15 seconds away from closing. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Oh yeah, that is in literally in.
Holy shit! Yeah, that's a damn good point, actually.
Thanks for
See what
bringing that
happens.
up.
Yeah, no worries, no worries.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I was
because literally, I was
kinda
just thinking that's you got to wait for the confirmation, but of course the confirmation is literally now.
Right now.
Yeah, stand up a bit more.
Yeah, I mean that's a giant engulfing candle, and that's why I was kind of thinking that maybe they're trying to buy it up.
Mm.
So I think it just clicked
There it
over.
is.
I think
Yeah,
you
it's
got your
Yeah,
candle,
yeah, we just got a new monthly open, boys.
and look where they bought it up to. They almost got it there.
Wow.
To 5 to like May June, they almost got it there.
Yeah, well spotted there, Yorny.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, I would have
Yeah,
really
so-
liked to see the monthly close above this level. That would have been a thing of beauty, eclipsing this whole range here. That would be a beautiful engulfing candle.
Oh, believe me, so much as bots and analysis and TA and stuff like that. I think Jay posted a wonderful article that I read actually twice today. It was so good that about Bitcoin in general, and man, I think they were trying to buy up the price to have the monthly candle close, and then for tonight to have the daily close as high as possible, in preparation of tomorrow. But I mean,
Yeah.
we'll see. I mean, I'm just a tinfoil hat guy.
I like your tinfoil hat theories. Yeah, what do we have here? We had that potential reversal there. I'm kind of surprised that we never got any follow through. That was a fairly big, disgusting, engulfing daily candle yesterday. I'm surprised that never just really started a bit of a cascading waterfall down towards kind of these support levels.
Oh, and I'm watching the CVD of what just opened, Hong Kong, Tokyo, whatever just opened. What time is it? They shot out of the gate with a little bit of a sell off.
Okay.
So, but listen, it's only a minute, so maybe you look at minute candles.
You know I do.
So listen, anything. It's a long day for them too. It's an 8-hour day for them too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll see how it 9-hour. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. There's a lot going on right now. A lot of potential big things playing out. Hey. I don't know. I know. I once again sound like a little bit of a moon boy, and I know that I sounded like that in the past at certain levels. Like I said, I mean, I was obviously wrong about the bottom being in here, but I just think now the market as a whole for crypto, I think looks pretty good. I just don't. I think the chances of us going down towards 14 and 10K are getting less and less as we take out some of this, important structure. I don't know. I might be stuck in perma bull mode here, guys, but I've just I don't know. I don't think the market's in as rough of a shape as a lot of people are making it out to be. The fact that with the FTX debacle that happened was over here. I mean, we're consolidating above pre-FTX levels, it's pretty impressive to me that the FTX dump level never actually held as resistance. We just kind of created a bull flag right along it. That's kind of what I was talking about. If we get up towards that 28 to 32K level, and rather than getting a harsh rejection, we just kind of consolidate at that level. That's kind of what we got here, and we just carried on higher. So it's nice. I guess just before I wrap up the stream here, one thing that I want to touch on is I know this run looks overextended and it can't keep going. And I agree, the pullback, I think, at some point that we have to get a pullback, right? But what I like about this chart from a bullish perspective right now is that, yes, we had a nice climb to the upside, but we did create some consolidation here. So the fact is that right now, after we broke above this level, we've now confirmed that we have a potential support range down here. So even if Bitcoin does take this tumble, we see this rejection from this this supply zone up here and pull back down, I think it's quite likely that Bitcoin finds support somewhere in this range here. I mean, obviously anything can happen, but you guys just know the way I look at market structure. I don't want to change my opinion until we lose some important levels. And right now, I think that important level is really all the way down towards 20K. I mean, we could just wick down below this level if we end up retesting it, but I really think that's going to be a very important level for the market if we do get a bit of a correction here. So anyways, guys, that's I will stay on the stream here just for a few minutes after, but I am going to wrap up the recorded part here just because you know, after an hour, these videos take a long time to upload to my YouTube channel, so I want to get that process started as soon as possible here, and we have been going for about an hour. So if any of you guys have not been made aware yet, I do have my own YouTube channel here. Subscribers are climbing. Thank you very much, you guys. Appreciate every single one. I notice every time this number climbs at all, so thank you for that. And follow me on Twitter. I also post some analysis there if I don't have time to make videos or whatever, if something catches my eye. So with that, guys, if you are just watching this, if you're not live with us, you're watching this on my YouTube channel right now. If this is something you want to be a part of, we have these all the time. I always talk about how we have a very active and supportive community. I mean, here's just an example. On top of the beautiful indicators that I'm always talking about. So if this is a group that you want to be a part of, there is a referral link down below in my description, as well as in the comments. You get a 15% discount if you use a referral link. So mine's down there if that's something that interests you. And with that, I think that's about all I have to go over for you guys today. So I'm out. Stay safe, my friends. Peace.